What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In this video, we're going to be covering AMD earnings, which the stock is blasting up in after hours. We're also going to take a look at Airbnb and StarBucks, both of which also reported earnings today and are moving quite a bit in after hours. We also have to cover some very, very important things to know for tomorrow. We have an important video today. Make sure to stick around to the end. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, AMD really exploded today in after hours. Like you said, even throughout the day, AMD did pretty well, closing up 1.4%, right up there around that intraday resistance, right around like $91.50 to $92. We can see AMD was really following this lower trend line all throughout the day there, popping really high here in after hours. Like I said, up to 96. And Mike, these were some great numbers. We can see our news bot here actually called this out in after hours. So we have AMD's EPS coming in higher than expected at 1.13 versus the 92-cent estimate right there. Their revenue came in at 5.9 billion, beating the $5.3 billion estimate. That was nice to see. And Mike, their outlook is also fantastic. So they're seeing their Q2 revenue at 6.3 billion to 6.7 billion, topping the estimate of 6 billion. And Mike, this honestly is even better. So their full year revenue is seen at 26.3 billion versus an estimate of 24 billion. So that's going to be 2 billion higher than the estimate. That is a big increase for AMD, and they definitely deserve to be moving up with these types of numbers.
There we go. So AMD has been struggling quite a bit over the past couple weeks, but hopefully this earnings release can turn things around. So that's awesome there. And Tom, I know there's a lot of other companies that reported today too. So how are the other ones doing?
Yeah, also doing very well here, Mike. Airbnb is exploding up in after hours. Now, I will say they are pulling back a little bit. Also maybe expect some volatility with AMD. You know, of course, these earnings moves go all over the place. Maybe they'll end up popping back up here soon, but as of right now, they're kind of settling around $150. And Mike, they actually had some great numbers as well, just like AMD. So if we look at Airbnb here, the main headline says that they topped estimates with 70% revenue growth year over year. That's great to see. And then they also reported 102.1 million nights and experiences booked in the first quarter, surpassing pre-pandemic levels and beating expectations. And Mike, they have a whole bunch of different things that they beat on here, like their EPS, their revenue, and then they also had some cool stuff with Ukraine down here at the bottom. But overall, Mike, they've just been a crazy company lately. And the Ukraine news was also pretty big. They said that they saw 600,000 nights booked in Ukraine, and they actually put a lot of this revenue going to help out the people who are, or I should say like the hosts who are kind of like renting out their houses on Airbnb here. So that's really nice to see them kind of helping out over there too.
There we go. So that's awesome. And it's very awesome to see that their revenue is surpassing their pre-pandemic levels, and not only their revenue, but also their nights and experiences booked. You know, that's great news.
Yeah, it really is. That's huge. And Mike, it's going to even help other companies and other sectors too. So definitely look at the airlines tomorrow and the cruise lines as well. If we look today, the airlines had a great day, up 1.5% with Delta. Carnival Cruise Lines also had a pretty good day, kind of consolidating here. So overall, a lot of these reopening plays are doing great. And I'm really glad to see them reporting good numbers here. But Mike, we also have some more earnings here in after hours tonight with StarBucks. You know, they ended up coming up too. They topped estimates as their growth actually offsets their declines in China, which is pretty cool to see. You know, you can see that they said that their Chinese same store sales sank actually 23% in the quarter. So pretty cool to see StarBucks coming up here, even though they had those issues in China, Mike. You know, they ended up doing well with their EPS, meeting expectations, and then they also barely beat on revenue. So it seems like they're doing pretty well, Mike. And I know StarBucks on the daily chart has lately been dipping pretty hard too.
Yeah, very true. So like you said, they had some troubles/problems with, all of the crazy lockdowns and everything in China, but overall their global same-store sales increased 7% in the quarter. So that's awesome. What's really important to look at when looking at companies like StarBucks or McDonald's or like even like CVS or Walgreens is you want to not only look at their overall sales, but also how their same store sales are increasing. For example, let's say you have a company like Starbucks that says, hey, our sales increased by 10%. But if they opened, double the amount of stores, it's like, yeah, you better have sales increase by 10% or there's a really big problem. But when you see those same store sales also increasing, it just, further strengthens, I guess you could say, at least my confidence in the company.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, that's definitely a good point there, Mike. Those same store sales came in very well there, which is good. And, like you said, if they just would double the stores, and then obviously you need some type of growth with the sales. So makes a lot of sense there. Starbucks is dipping a lot lately. They were at highs of like 126 after the pandemic there. Now they're all the way down to $74, $75 or so. This one's pretty tempting for me, Mike. I will say I might add this one to the longer term portfolio here pretty soon.
Yeah, and they pay a decent dividend too. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's really not 49 cents per share declared right now. Looks like that's going to be coming out on May 12th. So that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks too. Definitely a good point there.
Sounds good. So Tom, tomorrow is going to be a crazy day. What's on the schedule?
Yeah, we have a big day with the FOMC event tomorrow. Of course, Powell is going to be speaking at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, right after that interest rate decision comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So this is going to be a big event to look at for tomorrow. As of right now, they're talking about pretty much expecting a 0.5 point interest rate hike or 50 basis points. And if we see here on the CME Group's website, they're now pricing in a 99.1% chance of 75 to 100 basis points. So I'm curious to see, Mike, what's going to happen, because as it says here, the Feds are expecting to raise it by 0.5 point, but investors are kind of wondering if they'll get more aggressive and raise it by a little bit more. So we'll have to see what happens. If they do end up raising it by 75 or 100 basis points, then we might see the market dip down a little bit. I'm really curious to see how the market's going to react, Mike, because as we know, the market loves to go against the majority. And, I feel like a lot of people are starting to pick a lot of different plays up for tomorrow, whether that's hedges with the SPY or what have you. But I've been seeing a lot of people try to make some pre-Powell plays here.
Yeah, for sure. And Tom, let's showcase that Market Watch article really quickly with the rate hike cycle, because I feel like I'm seeing more and more people saying, oh, the Feds are going to hike rates. That instantly means the stock market's going to crash. Like, it's possible for the stock market to crash when rates are hiked, but you can't confuse correlation with causation, because if we look back throughout history, honestly, the opposite's true. Like, a lot of times that the Fed actually hikes rates, the market ends up doing pretty well. So it's like, just don't think that just because rates are being hiked, that does not equal falling stock prices. Like, a lot of times it hurts in the short term, but just keep this keep the data in mind.
Yeah, it's really telling, Mike. And what's interesting here, so the chart above here shows the rate cut cycle starting. So this is when they're cutting rates. And you can see here that there's actually been more negative movement, Mike, when they're cutting rates than when they've been hiking rates. So yeah, it's definitely a good data point to look at here. Definitely keep that in the back of your minds, guys. We might see the market, make a big move tomorrow. Obviously, Powell's going to play a big role in the movement, Mike. And as we can see, the SPY has been kind of consolidating here right around 410 to 418 up here around the upper resistance level. So we'll have to see how it plays out. And I really think that early in the morning, Mike, we might see some volatility heading into this. So definitely keep your eyes on like VXX, SPY, the NASDAQ, QQQ, and don't forget even the Dow. Dow is pretty big as well. Don't forget about that one. If the market moves a lot, we might see like a big 500 plus point swing or something.
Sounds good. And then Tom, would you also mind showing us the earnings for tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. So we still have some big ones coming up. So tonight was huge, obviously, with Airbnb, AMD, and Starbucks. That was huge, of course. And tomorrow before open, we're going to have Moderna and CVS, a couple companies that have done pretty well during the pandemic. Moderna has been very interesting lately. It's been kind of dipping back down. Tomorrow after close, we have Uber and Etsy. Thursday, Mike, we have Block. Fubo and Lucid. Lucid's going to be a very interesting one for the EVs. And, Mike, Virgin Galactic or SPCE is reporting Thursday after close too. I know we're going to space. Lots of companies are definitely getting that going. I saw a very interesting article today about Boeing and SpaceX, where SpaceX actually surpassed Boeing, believe it or not, in market cap or valuation. So that's cool to see. DraftKings on Friday. So still a lot of big ones coming up.
Sounds great. So I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day. Huge shout out to Christian in the Discord chat. Thank you so much for all of your support. We really appreciate you. So huge shout out to Christian. But Tom, it is now time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Beyond Meat to the upside.
Yeah, Beyond had a great day today. It's been moving a lot, Mike, ever since that rumor last week with McDonald's. So go ahead and make them break out above $39.45 for tomorrow.
All right, with the next one, we have Neo also to the upside.
Yeah, China play. They did pretty well this morning. Go ahead and make them break above $17.85.
All right, and with the last one, we have AI to the downside.
Yeah, this one was unfortunate given that some of these growth plays did well today. So go ahead and make AI break below $17. I actually really like that price point right there. It's a very even level.
Sounds good. So we are watching AI for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. And then we are watching Neo and Beyond Meat for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. But overall, guys, we're set for a crazy day in the market tomorrow. There's going to be a ton of volatility. Probably both to the upside and the downside, especially given the fact that we have the FOMC event and then a couple big earnings too. I also want to showcase the bot play really quickly before we close out. So if you trade options, make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot's pretty awesome. Today called out the Roblox 33 strike calls at $158. It popped up to $185. That's like a 17% pop in a couple hours. So definitely check it out. You can cancel it anytime. The bot's awesome. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Definitely check it out. Tom, overall, we're set for a lot of volatility. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a crazy day with Powell tomorrow, guys. Definitely be prepared for some volatility, especially heading into that event. The market might go flat. Sometimes we do see that happen as well. But, lately we've been seeing a lot of volatility. So I hope that the market fares well. Powell needs to put his mask and cape on, Mike, and come in here and save the market. I know it's been pretty brutal the past few days. I know fear's slightly creeping in here. I know the VXX is probably going to be a big thing to look at. We can see lately over the past couple of weeks, it's been really flying up. I know today it fell back down, but we've been seeing a pretty good move up on the VIX. So hopefully we see the VIX start to pull down and the market go up. Powell's going to be huge. Those interest rates obviously are going to have a huge impact, guys. I feel like this is going to be big for bank stocks as well. What's interesting, Mike, is banks are kind of popping up here heading into this event. So I'm going to really keep my eyes on the bank sector for tomorrow. Bank of America had a great day along with JP Morgan.
Sounds good. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you learned something or if you're new to the channel. Besides that, let's have a great week.